Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hey Hana podcast. I'm Hannah Ostapchuk Kraus. I still haven't decided. I think I gotta go Hannah Kraus. Anyways, I have the man who made it all happen joining me here today, Peter Kraus.
Nice. Thanks.
Shocking that I keep bringing you in. You guys, I swear I know more people. But Peter just keeps...
I'm just your favorite person.
You just keep being relevant to the conversation.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love to feel relevant. I haven't felt that way in a long time.
So I wanted to do an episode that was specifically about, well, like last week I talked a lot about how like you don't need to jumpstart your whole life and you don't need to aggressively hit the panic button in the new year, whatever.
But you could.
But you could. So, and I have a lot of like friends, family, girlfriends, and people who have asked about how to get started at the gym. So I happen to be married to a fitness expert.
Thanks.
Someone who owns many gyms here in the greater Madison area. And you have 7 now, right?
Yeah, we have 7 gyms open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Peter knows a thing or two about fitness and just getting started. So there's a lot of women out there who I think are like, I don't know where to begin at the gym. Like, I don't know what to do. And I wanted to do this episode because I specifically came from that same confusion. I didn't know where to begin at the gym. I always went to the gym, but I would sort of like hide in the corner and do a video workout because I only knew what influencers were telling me. So we're here to debunk all of the questions, rumors that you have about what to do in the gym, where to start, gym intimidation, are classes better than weightlifting, all of the things. Do I need to do solid core 5 days a week? Do I need to eat carbs only in the morning? All of those questions.
Wow. You have all those questions for today?
I don't know. That was just in my head.
We have 49 minutes. Let's get to work.
Okay. Let's get to work. All right. So let's start things off with if you are, and this is specifically for the girls. Okay. Sorry, guys. I mean, I'm sure a lot of this will pertain to men as well, but.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of things within fitness are equal opportunity.
Yeah.
And then there are a few things that really are above and beyond what any of us really need to think about on a daily basis that pertain to one specific gender.
Right. Okay. So if I'm a woman and I want to start going to the gym, let's say I used to go, I haven't been in years, I don't know what to do, or I'm just now getting my first gym membership. I've only ever done classes and I want to start just going to a regular open gym. Where do I begin?
You know, I can't speak for anybody other than myself and I guess the people that I talk to on a regular basis. And I can honestly say every single person's starting point has been different. When I very first started working out, it was strictly due to vanity. I wanted to be fit. I wanted 8-pack abs like all the other models.
Yeah.
As I was getting into this stage in my life, I was like 17, 18 years old when I first found the gym, I would say. Like, back up. I used to work out for football.
Yeah.
And football is a very full body, full contact sport that involves a lot of different capabilities: up, down, forward, back, side to side, spinning in circles, all these things. And all we did in the gym was chest press and bicep curls. Literally nothing that helped our
But you
sport.
knew like a little bit of what to do in the gym.
No clue. At that time, no idea. Like, I literally just thought you got jacked by doing bench press.
Okay, so how did you learn? Because I can explain how I learned too, if that's helpful.
Yeah, so it started off with, all right, when I got into the gym, the idea was literally I just wanted to be fit for modeling as I started to get to like 19, 20, 21, and I started modeling at 20. And at that time, fitness, like working out, lifting weights, was the only thing I knew, but I didn't know anything about symmetry. I didn't know anything about balance. I didn't know anything about functional fitness. And I definitely didn't know anything about nutrition, like complete opposite of what was actually good for you.
Right.
And what I started with was, at the time, this was like pre-YouTube or even like the very early stages of YouTube. So there wasn't really any videos to watch. I would strictly go to Barnes and Nobles, and I'd pull out every men's health magazine I could find. And if they were affordable, because some of them were very expensive, like they'd have these men's health guides from time to time that were thicker and very specific to like training regimens.
Sure.
I would take the regular magazines and I would start to, like the ones that I bought, obviously, because I would cut out all the pages.
Yeah.
And I made a binder of pages upon pages upon pages of workout pictures and routines. And then I would go to the gym and I would try and mimic some of these things as best as I could. I would read all the articles that were based on things that interested me. So, specific target areas of the body, shoulders, biceps. At the time, I want to say abs. I wasn't really thinking yet about legs and glutes and all kind of stuff. I would focus on those things I saw in the magazines.
Okay, well, a woman is not gonna go to, like, Men's Fitness and rip out,
Basically, though, you just said yourself, you're going to Instagram and finding a girl who looks the way you want to look and you're replicating her workouts. It's no different.
Okay, so you would suggest starting in that way of
Yes. I think when you're just starting in fitness, you can't really do wrong because you're doing something and something is good.
yeah,
As you get more and more into it and you're looking to go beyond just general fitness or specific like aesthetic purposes, then it's functional fitness, it's symmetry. And by symmetry, I mean like if someone's doing a lot of the same movements over and over and over, you develop pathways. And if you develop the same pathway too often, you're going to forget something else,
right.
or you're going to create long term potential for pain, injury, and all that. So I use this analogy all the time with my trainers as I'm training my trainers. And that's over here, we have this place called Monona Bay. And around the bay, there's a 3 mile loop that everybody runs. It's exactly 3 miles. It's really easy. But if you run on the grass, there is a rivet, like a rut worn into the grass that's now just hard, compact dirt about 6 to 8 inches deep.
Right.
And because over time, repetition in the same exact pattern over and over and over wears away at the materials. And your body's really very similar. So, like if I'm doing the same constant movements forward and backwards, eventually my knees will start to wear down, my ankles will wear down, my back will start to wear down. All that can cause long term pain and injury.
Right.
So that's where balance and symmetry really comes in, where I'm doing multiple planes of motion. I'm lifting with very different types of weight. I'm lifting them in different cadences and paces. I'm combining things like zone 2 training and VO2 max training and strong lifts and lighter lifts and doing things like going to a Pilates class or doing a reformer from time to time. Like all that stuff is really, really good for you in the long term when all combined together.
Okay,
Yes.
totally get that. Good answer, Beth.
But to go bring it all the way back to the beginning, if you're really looking at just like getting started in the gym, the best thing you can do is just start. Like just start doing something and try your best to be open and like available to others. So whether you're talking to a trainer in the gym, you're talking to the staff in the gym, you're talking to someone else working out in the gym. Like I started just making friends with people in the gym because I liked what they were doing.
So true.
I would ask buff dudes, like, what are you doing for your shoulders? I want better shoulders. And they would tell me exactly what they did. And they were happy to
Yeah.
tell me.
No, that's so true. I've definitely stopped women in the gym and been like, "Your arms are so cut. Like, what do I do? How did you get that?"
Yep.
That was a good example you gave about your men's health thing, because you're right. Of like, you sort of have to start when you emulate something, and just that's like how you figure out what to do and how to do it in the gym, and then from there, it's sort of like a learning curve from just trying it so many times on your own.
Hmm.
But it is intimidating. I think a lot of women do that thing where they like go hide in another room and do videos because they don't even want other people to see them like trying out these machines.
I just want to say it's intimidating for everybody,
Yeah,
literally everybody. And usually the people who are the most jacked in the gym,
it's a good
from my experience, are some of the most insecure. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like they are in a pursuit of perfection in their desired like facet of life, which in this case is aesthetics or power or strength or whatever it may be. They are oftentimes like the most kind and genuine people that you'll talk to. It's like if you see someone really jacked in the gym, go up and ask them.
Yeah,
They're probably going to talk to you and be really nice.
that is a really good point because those are the people who would talk to my mom a lot when we would
Totally.
go down to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, is these guys who are there all the time. They, and they see her trying stuff out and they're like, "Okay, we will help your mom with this move and whatever."
Yeah. The
Um,
kid that's like sitting, sorry to cut it.
yeah,
Like,
no, no, please.
like everybody in the gym, I feel like is there for the same reason. They're trying to do better for themselves.
Mhm.
The kid that's sitting there on his phone with his headphones on and staring down the whole time is maybe the one person you don't want to talk to
Sure.
in asking for help. So
Yeah.
outside of that, the vast majority of people, and this is with like 17 years of experience of working in a gym, are really good, genuine people that are willing to talk and help. And
It's very true.
if you actually take a step back from your own insecurities and like, in a way, selfish thinking,
Yeah.
you'll realize that no one cares.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's not that big of a deal to not know how to use a machine. And
Yep.
it's like totally okay.
And if someone is laughing at you, forgive my words, but fuck them. Like, they're not a good person.
No, that is true. There's a lot of the people who will film people who are doing something wrong, and it's like,
Ah,
it's not nice. It's like, we're all just trying, you know? But yeah, just to add to that, like, that's sort of how I figured out what I was doing too, was I found one influencer and I really liked her videos. And I would just like I would like take a screen grab of something she was doing, and then I would try to mimic that
mhm.
on my own. And then it became like, if I panicked, I would just like go on the treadmill because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I did it right. Let me just go on the treadmill for like 30 minutes and then I'll go back to another workout later. And a lot of times I would use the treadmill as a crutch. All the women do the 12-3-30, which I want your opinion on this. The 12-3-30 is like you walk on a 12,
Percent incline
yes, 12%
at
incline.
3 miles per hour
There we go.
for 30 minutes.
Yes, for
Yep.
30 minutes.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Well, keep that in mind because I want to back up something you just said,
Okay.
honestly. You just said you use that as a crutch.
Yeah.
And you said that, you'd follow this woman's advice and do all of her things. I think you've come a long way in your own fitness journey. And that in itself is proof that like nothing ever happens at once. You're not going to be perfect right when you start.
Sure.
So I think it's very important that people remember that there's going to be ebbs and flows of training. And I think it's so important, again, to be open to so many different directions of training and directions in your life. Like there were times where I went hard. Like I did Ironman for years.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, I was into more like powerlifting, bodybuilding, like CrossFit kind of stuff. And now it's more about functional fitness and longevity. But also I'm like starting to get back into, I want to get back into like the sport of it. So know that there's going to be cycles throughout life and you don't have to do it all at once
Yeah.
because eventually you're going to have burnout.
100%. That's a great tip. There's seasons for workouts, and you can enjoy something for 6 months and then after that, never do it again. And
Yep.
just be like, I actually don't like doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm in my third trimester. My workouts look very different than they did,
Mhm. Mhm.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm going much slower these days.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then your question about the
Yes.
12-3-30.
12-3-30.
So the idea behind the 12-3-30 is that it's a good way to get your heart rate up into a, what do I call it? Like a good range
Mhm.
for fat burning, without pushing your heart rate up into an elevated range that would be more of like an aerobic or even anaerobic, if too high, type of exercise. So what that means is you have different heart rate zones. So you have like zone 2, 3, 4, and what is it? 5 is the highest. I don't know. It might be 6. Everybody talks about zone 2. So your heart rate zone is dictated by the amount of oxygen pretty much your body has to utilize at any given stage of exercise. So if I'm going really, really intense, my body has to utilize a lot of oxygen. At some point, if my body's doing a really intense exercise, that oxygen will get depleted in a certain amount of time. The higher my heart rate, the harder my intensity, the quicker my body will utilize that oxygen and now be in an anaerobic state, a lack of aerobic capacity. And aerobic capacity is the use of oxygen.
Okay.
So if I back it off a little bit, I'm now into what's ideally an aerobic state. And in that aerobic state, I should be able to burn fat pretty well. But it's teetering on the edge of like the anaerobic. So again, the phase is pretty short.
Mhm.
And then there's the like step below that would be the zone 2 training where you're still using oxygen, but you're using it so efficiently because the intensity of your exercise is so low that my body can really focus on burning fat as its primary source of energy.
Right.
So when you do the 12-3-30, you should be walking and not holding on. That's one thing I see people do a lot wrong. Like I should say it's not wrong, but it's just not the best. And even if you slow down your pace a little bit to like a 2 or a 2.5, it's okay.
Yeah.
But don't hold on. And you just walk, and it's going to get your heart rate up into maybe like that 60 to 75% range, which is a little above zone 2. And it's where your body's probably burning some of the best fat calories like you're burning fat at that point
Yeah.
for energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great to do, but not holding on is so difficult.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, that just means you're going too fast.
Yeah,
Slow down.
right.
Like if you're doing that, then either you need to decrease your incline or decrease your speed. But the holding on kind of defeats the purpose because when you're walking up an incline, you're using your calves, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes. You want a nice butt, walk on an incline, especially up some stairs. But if you lean back, you reduce that incline. And so you're actually just removing your glutes and hamstrings a little bit from the exercise
So, but that like zone 2.
and your core.
that zone 2 fat burning
Yep.
area,
Yep.
that like, there's other ways to get to that zone, right? Like, what are some other things that you would recommend for women who maybe don't wanna do 12-3-30
Yeah.
on the treadmill?
So
Like
one
the
of the
Stairmaster or
I would actually just do this. Start with what's called the RPE scale. So in all of my, again, training of my trainers and all of my training like before that, it was always this rate of perceived exertion. So you can very easily go grab a heart rate monitor and monitor your heart rate that way. That's what I did for years in triathlon. It's what a lot of elite athletes do. And it's becoming more and more mainstream. The number one trend in fitness right now is actually wearable technology.
Sure.
So you can very quickly track your heart rate with that if you want to. But that has a lot of flaws in it. There's really cheap models that just don't actually monitor correctly. There's questions with like hydration and dehydration and what that can do to the ability to send a signal through your body. 'Cause it's sending an electrical signal through your body and returning it back. Yeah. Anyways, the easiest way to do it and the cheapest way to do it is judge yourself.
Mhm.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is I just did something so insanely intense that I'm seeing stars and I'm seeing like the lights go out in front of me. I
Yeah.
need to lay down because I'm going to pass out.
Mhm.
That is an extreme. Very rarely, if ever, in exercise should you get to that point unless you're like in a race.
Right.
A 1 is you just woke up, open your eyes, and you're doing the first things for the day, and your heart rate is at what we call a like resting heart rate
Mhm.
or a basal metabolic rate is kind of like where this starts. Throughout that 110 scale are different levels that are equivalent to certain like intensities of exercise. So a 5 would be you're in a fast paced walk. A 6 would be like you're in a jog.
Mhm.
A 7 would be you're in a slow run. 8 would be you're in a run. 9 would be you're a dead sprint. And then 10 is like your sprint better be over because it was so intense.
Right.
So that's a very easy way to look at it. Intensity levels, as far as like physical feelings, if you sweat, you're starting to warm up at a 5. You're starting to maybe bead a little bit at 6. You're starting to perspire at a 7. You are sweating at an 8, and you are dripping sweat at a 9. In like breathing, it's I am able to hold a conversation very well at a 5.
Yeah.
A 6 is I'm able to hold a conversation, but maybe every once in a while I have to take a deep breath. 7 is I'm probably starting to lose that conversation. 8 is I'm not conversing, and 9 is I am unable to breathe. Okay. So those are your different levels again. And a zone 2 is really that like 5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
So like I just said, it's you're able to hold the conversation throughout. You are still feeling like you're doing something. You're getting warmed up. Your body feels warm at this stage.
This is a really good explanation.
Yeah. You are definitely moving consistently and you can maintain it for an extended period of time, but it couldn't be all day necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. That is zone 2. So that's you grab your girlfriends, you go for a long walk. We're
Right.
talking like hour to 2 hours.
Like
Ooh,
4 miles?
does that take you an hour to 2 hours?
Honestly, I don't know, but when I think of a
Mm,
good long walk, like, I think of it's like a 4-mile minimum walk,
Sure.
you know?
I mean, when Daisy and I used to go on our walks, uh, pre-wifey, they were like hour and a half, 2 hours. I would get back feeling amazing.
Yeah.
On a hot day, I would get back and Daisy would be dead.
Yeah.
Like she literally multiple times would have to lay down in the grass before we got home.
This is why winters are so hard because all I wanna do is go for a long walk, but I can't do it, and it's that feeling like I'm chasing that same high that I would all summer
Yeah.
of just, like, going on long walks, but yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people try to do the 10K steps a day. If you estimate how many miles 10K steps is, it's roughly around 4 miles. So if you start your day by going on, like not start your day, but if you at a base level are doing like a long walk every day that's around 4 miles, then you're already exceeding that like, okay, 10K steps a day. It's just good for you. It's just good for you to do whether or not you add in some, you know, weightlifting and some of that routine as well,
Mhm.
which I would suggest doing. Okay. Let me go to some more questions here. You're doing great, sweetie.
Thanks.
What advice would you give to women who are a bit questionable on whether or not to use the machines or to just do the free weight section or classes?
Free weights are the best way to gain strength through multiple ranges of motion and with, how do I say it? Like limited like constraint.
Right.
I have the most risk for injury, probably, but I also have the greatest room for adaptation, growth, and potential. With a machine, I typically have one, maybe two planes of motion, and I can lift really, really heavy. But in time, I should say, starting off, that's probably the safest. But there are limitations to it because there are only one or two ranges of motion. So I have to find either lots of machines to do to get all those ranges of motion, or eventually I will run into that analogy that I gave you with running around the circle of the lake. Eventually, you will run the same patterns over and over and over, and the body will start to have imbalances, causing injury, pain, I don't know, just like a lack of growth.
Yeah.
Right? You can only do the same thing so many times. Eventually, like your body just stops seeing adaptation. And then the last thing would be classes. Classes are a great place to start if you are unfamiliar with exercise and you need direction, and especially if you need motivation.
Mhm.
The downside to classes is that, especially depending on the size of the class, there's a high risk for injury if the class is too intense for what you are supposed to be doing right away. And there's not really good close contact with the leader of the class, which unfortunately classes are growing like wildfire right now
Yeah.
across the nation. And that means huge groups, limited trainers, high intensity, and not a lot of like teaching, education, and focus on the individual in those classes.
There's so much I want to say for this.
Yeah, so like each one of those has its benefit.
Yeah.
Uh, I will say it every single day until the day I'm dead. Personal training is the best place to start,
Yeah.
hands down, no question. There are bad trainers out there. Yes, it's true. Trainers are more expensive than working on your own or on your own. Obviously, that's true. They're more expensive than classes. More often than not, that is also true. If you're lucky enough to find a trainer who's just starting off in the industry, they're going to probably charge you $50 to $70 per session, but they're probably not going to know all the ins and outs like someone like myself who charges upwards of $200 an hour for one-on-one training because I've been doing it for a long time and I've really educated myself. And now I'm working with a select clientele.
Yeah.
But if you really want the most bang for your buck, personal trainer is the way. Then I would probably go into um, a small class. I would stay away from the big classes. Go into a small class if possible. And then it would be go about it on your own, but see if you can find someone to help you.
When you talk about it's funny, you almost answered the first question I asked there again. Like, where should someone start if you've never been to a gym and you just got a gym membership?
Yeah.
Getting a personal trainer is like, he's right. It's one of the best things you could do. I never did it, but there's parts of me that sometimes still wonder if I should do that because it would help, A, push me on those days where I'm just like sort of doing the mundane thing. You know, you talk about running in that one circle and creating that divot.
Mm.
It's like my body is so used to doing the same workouts. But then and, you know, maybe that's where, like, a class once a week comes into play and you start doing that class. Like, Peter and I just started taking High Rocks classes together on Saturday mornings, PK
So
Fit.
fun. So fun.
Yes, they're so fun. PK Fit is now hosting High Rocks classes, and so I had never done High Rocks, I'd never heard of it. It's not a huge thing in the South, and now it's a really big thing in the Midwest. It's sort of like it's kind of like a CrossFit, but not as intense and not as,
It's very similar minus the Olympic lifts. So you're lifting way less weight. You're doing a lot more, I guess, like true aerobic training, which would be like running, biking, skier,
right.
rower. Yeah.
But my point is, like, doing that only once a week is so beneficial
Mhm.
because then I'm on my regular routine every other day and I'm doing that. And then on that one day a week, I'm challenging myself to do something a little different. So whether that's a class for you or it's even just a personal trainer once a week, like something like that could be so beneficial to actually moving the needle in your fitness levels and not just feeling like, okay, I'm doing the same thing. I'm on a treadmill every day. I'm in this little room with the mirror doing my videos every day. Because that's the sort of cycle that I was stuck into.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about was classes in general. I feel like there are a lot of fitness classes out there that claim to be the best thing for you. And then there's a lot of influencers who tell you that certain classes or a certain style of workout is the best thing for you. I mean, there are Pilates girls who only do Pilates and only swear by Pilates. Like they don't lift weights and they don't do anything in like a big box gym.
Mhm.
Whereas there's girls who only lift and don't really mess with Pilates at all. Before getting into all of that, there's a lot of classes that go into these gimmick things like Orange Theory. A lot of people love that because it gets them into the gym and it gets them to learn how to use certain machinery. But that's also a play on the zone, you know, the zone 2 thing that you were
There's
talking about.
zone 4.
Okay.
There's the orange zone,
Yeah,
which
so
is what we
that's
want
that.
orange theory. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of classes that seek the like high energy. Everything needs to be like a hit workout,
Hmm.
high intensity interval training.
Hmm.
Everything needs to be like really intense, and you need to leave feeling like, oh my God, I just like, I lost a life in there. Like I worked out so hard, but tell me why that isn't totally necessary sometimes.
Yeah. It's funny. The whole time I'm thinking about, we have a trainer that used to work for a very, very large national brand fitness chain. I won't say what it was, but he and I were having a conversation the other day. And in one of his early meetings in working for this company, the manager on duty said, and this apparently came from like the top to him and then on to the rest. He said, "We're not a class gym, we're
Mhm.
a marketing company." Yeah.
Whoa.
And right then and there, this trainer of mine was like, "Oh, this doesn't feel right."
Yeah.
And for good reason.
You have to tell me this later.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you get the inside scoop.
I want to know who this is.
Because I don't want like point
No,
anybody
no, no,
out, and
of
who
course.
knows where that came from, whatever. But that is what he heard, and
Yeah.
it was from what he thought was the top. And it's so true. A lot of business in general is based off of marketing. You only succeed in business if you have good marketing.
Yeah.
Like word of mouth is great, and if you have an excellent product that people hear about, that's going to get you somewhere, but it's not going to get you as far as a really good marketing plan and company. So a lot of these big box gyms have perfected marketing more so, in my opinion, than they've perfected
Totally.
fitness.
Well, same with sorry to jump on
Yeah.
that, same with a lot of these Pilates places.
Right.
Like, a lot of these high intensity like, I used to go to Solid Core in New York, so that one always comes to my mind, but there's a lot of, like, those, the lights are dark and everyone's talking the whole time and they're techno playing. Those types of gyms, like, those style classes, I feel like are also big on marketing in general.
Totally. I mean, if you don't know how to market, if you can't market, you don't survive as a business.
Right.
That is, I truly believe, why most businesses die. Like 90% of small businesses die within the first 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Marketing is extremely challenging, extremely expensive, and it's ever changing. So right now, what you see is a lot of like huge influxes of a specific kind of fitness, because I think it's just what the market is doing. It's
Yeah.
like the market is dictating where all the trends are going right now.
Yeah.
But because our attention spans are so short at this point, I do believe that the trends are changing very fast. Now, what's good in a business is you lock people into contracts, and a good business will lock you in for 2 years.
Oh my gosh, that make it
And
so hard to
yeah,
leave.
so hard to leave. So
Yeah.
you get on the trend, you catch people at the right time of that peak of the trend, and then people are locked in for 2 years, and then it becomes like a lifestyle. And I completely understand. Then people maintain that for years, and eventually those trends dwindle down as like the people stop coming in as much, and
Right.
those who were on slowly start to fade off, and eventually you just sell the business, or you close your doors, or you just maintain at a low level and you're happy. But all that to say, like you're asking about classes specifically,
Yeah, this
and
like
go ahead.
is this brings up this, and I told you this story, but I remember in college, I had, like, just started working out regularly in
Yeah.
college. I had always been, like, running, but that was the first time I was like, "Okay, I wanna invest in some classes. I wanna invest in a gym, like, I wanna do something." And I remember at the time, all of my friends had joined a local CrossFit. It was like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was really intense. I remember I went to one class and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was, A, super intimidated because I felt like I couldn't keep up in the classroom at all.
Understandable.
B, every person in there, although extremely friendly, like, they didn't have the this sounds so bad, but I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know if I should say this. They didn't have the type of figure that I was, like, pushing for.
They're super buff.
Super buff.
Yeah.
Like,
You're lifting
super buff
power. You're
women.
doing power lifts, which is going to build a lot of density to the muscle,
Yes.
which creates size. And then you're probably eating a lot of food. Like most, like at least competitive CrossFitters are eating a shit ton. And
I
so
just
they're
remember these girls had, like,
gaining muscle.
chalk on their hands, and they were
Yeah, it's
grunting.
badass.
Yeah, it is badass, totally, and I admire them in so many ways, but
Yeah.
I like, for me, no, no thanks,
Yeah.
I whatever, and I remember talking to my friend's mom, who you've met, she's been a personal trainer for a long time. I remember I was having dinner over at her house, and I was like, "What do you think about all of these CrossFit trends and, all of that? Like, should I spend, $200 a month
At
doing
least.
this CrossFit?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hannah, you don't have to work that hard to
Right.
be in shape." And I'll never forget it because it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, "Oh, it's the consistency of just going to the gym and doing it on my own could actually be so much more beneficial."
Hmm.
And you talk about longevity, all of that. It could like really help you long term. But it's the marketing for these. And I don't think CrossFit is bad. I'm not knocking anyone who does it. It's just like it's an opportunity to like really challenge yourself in a way that I wasn't interested in.
So
But
I think
That's what I'm trying to say.
every kind of class that's out there has its person,
Yeah.
and every person has their class. You are just fine thinking that this class is good for you and this class is not. And those people are just fine loving that class, and it's the one that you don't like. Like
Right.
there are so many classes out there that I would never take, but I would never tell someone you shouldn't take that class, because if you like it, stick to it. I think the best thing in fitness is to find what you enjoy and stick to it as your primary focus.
Yeah.
That being said, there should always be second and third and fourth focuses.
Sure.
Otherwise, you become so specialized that you either better be going professional in that one specific thing, or you better expect that you're going to have some sort of imbalance.
Right.
And even professionals, like you look at a professional CrossFitter, they're doing Pilates,
Hmm.
they're doing reformers, they're getting regular like body work, they're doing yoga, they're making sure they stay agile and mobile, and they're doing all of their zone 2 training and 3 and 4 and all that stuff, and they're out for runs and they're biking and all that stuff in addition to all of their power lifts, because they have to be multifaceted.
Yeah.
I think
It's a variety.
the biggest issue I see in all of the trends right now in fitness is this like hardcore dedication to one thing, and I refuse to do anything else.
Sure.
And I think a main reason for that is, one, the like cult-like atmosphere for some of these classes, where you almost feel bad for not going. It's
Yeah.
like, I have to do this because it's what I'm being told to do. I think as we continue to consume more and more and more, and influencers really become more and more important in our culture, people are really starting to get like hard fixated on what they're told to do and just doing what they're told. And then the flip side of that, or the other side of that, is also it's so expensive. Like,
Yeah.
you want to go take one of these classes, and I know if you do like a unlimited package, let's say at one of these reformer type of classes, it's sometimes $180 to $280 a month. I can't afford to go do something else on top of that. Like,
100%.
everything in the world is costing
Oh my
more and
gosh.
more. The cost of living is insane right now. I can't afford to spend $400 a month on general fitness.
No, you make such a good point, because when I was going to solid core, what's on my face?
Lipstick.
Oh, thanks. When I was going to solid core in New York City, I purposely was going like 4 or 5 times a week, because I was like, well, A, I'm paying for this, so I'm going to get
Yep.
my bang for my buck. But B, they sort of tell you like, oh, well, I teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got to see you all 3 days. You got to be there all 3 days.
Yep.
And I totally go for it. And again, I only use solid core as a reference, because that was the only class that I really got like sucked into. When in hindsight, I was like, I did not need to be doing that. Just
No.
for me, I don't think it was the best thing for me to do like 3, 4, 5 times a week. I really should have been doing it maybe like 1 or 2 times a week. Once a week would have been fine. And then doing my regular routine outside of that.
Yep.
But again, I was like using that as an opportunity to really try to learn more about what I liked
Yeah.
in that season.
Which is great. I think you should sample many things to find out what you like. And then again, have that as your primary focus, but you need to have additional avenues of fitness on top of that one primary focus.
This is a bit of a hard question to answer, but do you think that women need to lift weights, or is
Yes.
Pilates or is cardio enough?
No. You need to lift weights. On a most basic level, women especially lose bone density at a much faster rate than men due to your menstrual cycle. And the only way to build back bone density and muscle density really is through, how do I say it, like impact or trauma, basically, to the bone or the muscle. So your bones break every time that you apply a load or a heavy force to them. The heavier the force, obviously, the more breaking. Like, you could literally snap a bone in half with enough force.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You want to do small little microscopic breaks, and your muscles tear every time that they apply a force or a force is applied to them. And so, just like your bones heal stronger when they recover or rebuild, your muscles grow stronger and more dense when they recover from these tears. So the best, most efficient way to do that is through load. Pushing heavy weights, lifting heavy weights, pulling heavy weights. Those are all going to create more bone density, which for women especially is extremely important. Something like the number one cause of death in old age is a broken hip,
Oh my gosh.
right? So a fall results in a broken bone, and the broken bone causes you not to be able to walk again, and eventually it leads to other issues, and eventually.
Hmm? Yeah.
So, yeah, you want to lift weight
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is something I feel like I learned the hard way from after trying all of these different avenues of getting fit. Only did bar classes, I only did Pilates, I only would follow women online who did videos of mat Pilates, and I would do that in my own secret room in a gym. Lifting weights was the only thing that I saw. Well, I saw a difference in my mental health,
Hmm.
like
Oh yeah.
a significant difference. It was this thing of, like, creating my own routine every day and going to the gym, even if I wasn't creating it and I was taking it from someone I saw on TikTok, like, just leading myself through it every day was such a like, a secret reward to myself. It was such a pat on the back unintentionally, and I don't even think I realized it until I was done, that I was, like, done with that season of life. Like, 3 months of doing it, I was like, "Wow, that feels really good." So,
Mhm.
A, it helped my mental health, but B, it was the only time in my life where I started to notice a significant difference in how my physical body looked,
Mhm. Mhm.
is just by lifting and pushing
Yeah.
myself in lifting, which is why I think once you settle on a routine, then it's like, okay, if you want to take a class here or there to just sort of switch it up, I think it's so important. But I think, like what you said, relying on just only certain classes and not strength training can be detrimental to your health long term,
Less beneficial.
less
Yeah.
beneficial.
So
Thank you.
prolonged exposure to stress is not good for anyone.
Mhm.
Your body is very good at providing the appropriate energy sources to adapt to stress.
Mhm.
And that can create a feeling of excitement or good in the short run, but in the long term becomes like cortisol. And cortisol long term is not great. It causes poor sleep, muscle fatigue,
Oh, yeah.
brain fog, like irritability,
I feel
all that
like
stuff.
everyone has a seasonal life where you can look back and think, "My cortisol level was too high."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but that is what, like, if you're constantly pushing the levels too hard in fitness,
Mhm.
your body will eventually start to do it. It can actually go really far to the extreme, which is you can actually start to break down your own muscle and your body will start to catabolize the muscle. And then you can actually start to have really bad things going on with your internal organs. And you can actually have like kidney failure. So you want to avoid that
Mhm.
at all costs. And that's obviously an extreme level. The majority of people won't ever experience that. But short durations, short exposures to stress and high levels of stress for very short periods of time are extremely beneficial on the body. Your body can then learn to adapt to stress and it makes very quick modifications to actually benefit from that stress long term. So lifting heavy or doing sprints or very short intervals of something is very good for your long-term health and stress, I guess, like, how do I say it? Adaptability.
Mhm.
So when you do see an actual stressful experience in life, had you put yourself through short durations or bursts of stress, you'll be able to mitigate that stress much faster and more efficiently.
Right.
So that is strength training. That is interval training. That is these short little durations of it versus these like long, slow,
Yeah.
hard workouts that never seem to end. And they're like 90 minutes of intense exercise. I do believe that intensity in these longer durations has its time and place, but it really should be pretty
Mhm.
rare. Like when I did Ironman, each time I did Ironman, I was told I should take at least 2 weeks off afterwards.
Yeah.
That was anywhere from 10 to 12 hours of intense exercise. And that will break your body down to the cellular level. Like your body's literally fighting off death for an extended period of time because of the amount of stress that's being put on it.
Right.
And the body needs to fuel, rest, and recover, which based on the amount of stress and trauma placed on the body, which was a lot from an Ironman, it was supposed to take weeks. I didn't do that, which is why I ended up getting hurt and then being out for many, many years after that. But that goes to a much smaller, like a micro scale, which is in your classes. The more intense your class, the more recovery you're going to need. The more intense your workout, the more recovery you're going to need. If you're doing an intense workout day after day after day after day, your body is never fully recovering.
Mhm.
And eventually you're going to hit a wall. It is a guarantee.
Yeah.
Now, there's an exception to every rule. And there's people who are out there running marathons every other week and somehow they're able to do it. But they
Yes.
are an anomaly. The average person needs recovery. It should be like hard day, easy day, hard day, easy day, hard day, and so on.
Right.
Like a couple easy days should back up more so than a couple hard days should back up.
This brings me to my last question because I know we're running low on time here. I actually just decided in this moment we have to do a part 2 because I haven't even hit anything about nutrition and all of the different trends going on.
Totally.
But I wanted to ask you, how often should women aim to work out? especially if they're just beginning this process of getting into the rhythm of going to the gym?
Great question. Start with what I think is the ideal, and anything you do in search of that ideal is good.
Okay.
So ideally, you're doing 1 day a week of zone 2 training, which is again that like fast paced walk. You're doing 1 day a week of interval training, which is going to be sprints on the treadmill, the bike, the pool, ski erg, the rower, whatever it is you want to do. Fartleks are really great.
What?
Fartlek is,
What is
I
that?
think his name is John Fartlek. I can't remember his first name, but it's where you run and walk and jog in any
Oh,
variation of
sure.
it that you wish
Okay.
for 30 to say 60 minutes,
That's great.
45 minutes. And what that does, it allows for heart rate variability, which will build a very strong, healthy heart, but also helps to burn fat.
Wait, so how many days are we supposed to do those intervals?
So 1 day of intervals,
Okay.
1 day of zone 2.
Okay.
Okay, these can be anywhere in the week that you want, technically. I then believe you should do 3 days a week of strength training. They can be full body days, or they can be like broken down in kind of compartments. So what I do with a lot of my clients is a push day. And so I'm doing chest, triceps, shoulders, quads, calves. So all the pushing type of exercises.
Mhm.
And then I'm doing a pull day, which is biceps, still shoulders, but in an upright kind of row motion, back, which is your rows or a lat pull down, deadlifts, and then some hamstring slash glutes. Those would be all my pulls. And then a full body functional day, which is things as like multiple planes of motion with resistance or load, meaning like Turkish get ups, trunk twists, plank pull throughs, single arm kettlebell swings to overhead cleans or jerks or something like
By
that.
the way, Peter says all these names of what like the motion is.
Yes.
I don't know any names. I still don't. I feel like I've been going to the gym for a while now and I still don't know anything. I'll be like, what's the thing where I squat
Yeah.
down and I do the thing and I come up?
I love that because what I tell a lot of my clients early on is I'm going to write you a program. So you need to know some of these things if you're going off the program. If you're not going off the program, I want you to start with just body weight, close your eyes, and then as you move through space, see which muscles you feel being used. And then as you add weight, make sure that you're targeting those same muscles as you go.
Right.
It sounds weird and
No, that makes sense.
it's, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I was just saying, if you don't know what he's talking about, you're not alone.
Fair. All right,
'Cause I
so-
don't know some of those words either.
This basically creates 5 days a week of training. And then I would do a fun day. A fun day is going to be like go for a long hike, do some yoga,
Something different.
take a class,
Sure.
anything like that. Yep. And then the 7th day should be totally off.
Yeah.
Like enjoy a day
The
off.
day of rest.
The day
Just
of
like
rest.
the Bible.
Please
On the seventh
put that
day.
in yeah, totally.
Yeah.
7-day rest. Yeah. So that's like the ideal for the average person. And I do mean the average person. Like I think everybody should strive to have that. I understand even that amount of exercise, 5 or 6 days a week is a lot to ask for. But then let's start with how much time. Like the average workout should only be 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
The walks are longer, but the walks you should be able to hold a conversation. Like if you can get all of your texts switched over to voice notes or phone calls, you can walk and talk and do all that at the same time.
Right.
If like I hired an assistant just so I can like be mobile while talking about my emails because I was sick of sitting there at the desk and actually answering all my emails. See if you can add time in like the walks with your kids, the walks with your dog, all that
Mhm.
kind of like puts two things into one and helps kill time.
Yep.
Now the workouts themselves, 30 to 45 minutes, 60 minutes if you're really feeling good one day, but don't feel like you have to go above 60 minutes really ever. It's just for the most part and for most people, not necessary.
Yeah. There's so much more I want to talk to you about because I'm like, I want to talk about walking at different times of the day and how that can benefit you, why eating is so important, all of the diet culture trends.
So many things.
What are signs a woman is doing too much? I have so many more questions for you, but
I think it's a perfect example of how complicated the industry has made health and fitness. And it's really unfortunate because it's
Yeah.
really pretty easy when you pull back all the layers of bullshit.
simplify.
Yeah.
I think that all the time when it comes to fitness of like, if you're doing something and it doesn't feel right, simplify that rhythm, simplify your movement.
Mhm.
What could you do where you're still feeling that muscle? And I think this in everything in life, but again, it's a lifestyle. It's like, if you don't get it right one day, 1 week, 1 month, who cares? Keep moving. Do
Yeah.
something else.
And start with a professional.
Totally fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I really can't stress that enough because I wouldn't go to, I don't know, an artist to fix my car, right? So
Sure.
I'm going to go to a mechanic
Yeah.
because they're a professional in that industry and they know how to work on the car. And It's going to probably be a little bit more expensive, but I know it's going to be done right and it's going to last me a lot longer. Go to a professional to get help with fitness. You're going to thank yourself for doing it in the long run because a lot of upfront commitment and cost will lead to a lot of long-term benefit and gain.
That's great.
Mm.
Thanks, Boo.
Welcome. Happy to
Great
talk.
job.
I love talking about this stuff. If you can't tell, I could talk about it for weeks, days, years.
No, you're so good at it. It's
I
funny.
like
I'm over here like I honestly know nothing. Like
This is great. I don't have to start my own podcast because you can just ask me questions about things I want to talk about.
No, really. So we will do part 2 because I have questions about counting macros, about women who are coming out of an injury, coming out of pregnancy, what that should look like. Peter's helped coach a lot of women through pregnancy and then outside of it. So if you're a mom to be, we could talk about that. And then also like the protein fats, like what proteins do we need? Is intermittent fasting a thing that we should try? All of the things. So we'll get to that in part 2. But I love you, babe. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. I love you too.
All right. I'll talk to everyone soon. Have a great day. Bye for
Goodbye.
now.